Africa's 2-1 ODI series win against England served two major purposes for them. One, it was a major confidence booster given that England are currently the kings of white ball cricket, holding both the ODI and T20I World Cup. But perhaps more importantly for South Africa was the gain of those all-important ICC ODI Super League points. Now, you'd remember that towards the end of last year, it was a widely publicized matter that South Africa pulled out of an ODI series against Australia that would have actually cost them points because, quite frankly, their position even back then wasn't that great. But now, having won this ODI series against England, they're actually in a very strong position to clinch that all-important final spot for automatic qualification into the ODI World Cup. But there's a bit of a catch because there's two other teams who could very well still leapfrog South Africa into that 8th spot if circumstances go their way. But what exactly are those circumstances? Well, that's what we're here to explain in this video. So without further ado, let's just quickly check in on the scenarios for that final position of automatic qualification into the 2023 ICC ODI World Cup. Now, before we go into the scenarios, let's just quickly take a look at the table here. Now, currently, West Indies are in 8th position and they have 88 points. So they are currently in that last spot, but their qualification is not sealed. And South Africa, having played 5 matches less than the Windies, but only 9 points behind them in points, would be the team that many would say are in prime position. And there's also Sri Lanka, who do still have an outside chance, but as we're going to explore, their chance isn't the easiest chance that any team would want to have, because not only do they have to get some big results, they're going to have to hope for some results to go their way. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. Now let's check in with the key ODI series to watch out for this particular edition of the ICC ODI Super League. Now, bear in mind that only series that take place before May of this year will count. Any series after that doesn't count towards the Super League because the deadline will have passed. So, the three major ODI series that we should be focusing on. One is, of course, South Africa versus West Indies, which will be taking place soon enough. That's a 3-match ODI series, and that's important because not one but two teams here are going to be involved in, of course, the qualification for that, or the race for that 8th place. There's also New Zealand versus Sri Lanka, which probably doesn't have stakes that high because New Zealand have already qualified and currently, in fact, are sitting top of the ODI Super League table. Then there's South Africa versus Netherlands, which again, the reason there's two ODIs, in case you're wondering, is because this is a rescheduled series that had to be postponed and then rescheduled due to COVID-19. So there's two ODIs here which South Africa are going to be getting, which is going to be part of the Super League. So how exactly does all of this play out going forward? That's what we're getting to now. So, for West Indies, the scenario is pretty simple. They have to beat South Africa 2-1 or 3-0 in that one ODI series which they'll be playing, and of course hope that Sri Lanka, who are the other team in contention, lose the series to New Zealand. And there's just one problem with that scenario, though, is that West Indies form in ODI cricket has been really terrible over the past year. So they're going to have to pull something absolutely special out of the hat if they have to beat South Africa. Of course, Sri Lanka losing in New Zealand would seem like a likely thing, but stranger things have happened in the past. For South Africa, perhaps it's the best situation because all they have to do is beat the West Indies at home, and truth be told, as I said, should be an easy prospect because South Africa are currently coming off a win at home against England and will be confident that they can beat the West Indies. And then those two matches against Netherlands, win those, they're through easy peasy, no questions asked. That is why South Africa are very much the team in the driver's seat at this point, despite being 9th in the table. Sri Lanka haven't what you'd call an outside chance. Why exactly is that the case? Well, for one, they have to beat New Zealand 3-0. That means they have to whitewash New Zealand away from home in New Zealand's backyard, and then hope that either two things happen, or rather just one thing happens, that the series between the West Indies and South Africa sees one match with a no result and a 1-1 sort of a scenario. Why? Because as things stand, the points is so close that even if Sri Lanka end up beating New Zealand, but if South Africa end up winning the series, it won't matter. Similar, if West Indies win the series outright, again, Sri Lanka's hopes will take a dashing because Sri Lanka are behind both of them right now. That's why actually Sri Lanka have the most outside chance, because again, what could really cause a washout of sorts in the South Africa Windies series. Rain doesn't really seem to be much of a forecast, and so it is such stand to reason that either one of West Indies or South Africa will end up getting that series win and most likely seal their spot. But again, as I said, for South Africa, it's the best situation because it's two relatively weaker teams who will be playing them at home. So South Africa, despite actually being on a knife's edge, are very much the favourites going into this last leg of the ODI Super League for the year 2023. Right now, they are the team with the best chance of actually qualifying. The other teams do have a chance. Both West Indies and New Zealand and Sri Lanka, cannot be written out just yet. But if you're a betting man and you like a safe bet, you'd have to put your money on the Proteas. However, that's just what me and the stats and the table tell us. What do you guys think? You can let me know in the comments below, and don't forget, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video, and also follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Last but not least, download the AajTak app. Thank you all once again for joining us in this video. I hope to see you with us through the evening. For now though, goodbye.